You're doing this because your stories are valuable and important, and your lives are valuable and important. You're not doing this to get love. You're not doing this to be liked. You're doing this because you have some of the most important stories.
My name is Kathleen Sullivan. I'm the Director of Senior Services here at the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, and most of our activities actually take place here at the Village at Edgewood Plaza. The first thing I'd like to ask people to do, and I just reminded myself to do this, was to please turn off your cell phone. You definitely don't want cell phones going off during the meetings. This is the 5th year now that Stephen has worked with folks in our program with this poetry workshop, and it's really been astounding. As a matter of fact, the first week that I started here at the LA Gay and Lesbian Center, they had a reading, and we were all crammed into the gallery. I think I counted 55 people that day, and the stories that people were telling through their poetry were really what I call open heart stories, and it was a great honor to be there that night. I don't want to take up a lot of time because we have great poets that you're all really here to see. You're not here to see me talking. But I just wanted to thank you for being here and supporting the seniors and Stephen. And if you are not already on our mailing list, we have about 80 different activities each month for people who are 50 and older. Most of the activities do take place here, like I said, at the Village, and these are newsletters that go out every month. If you don't get one, there are some as you exit, you can pick one up. So thank you very much, and with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Stephen Rains.
Thank you. I love how we're packing the stage today. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the My Life is Poetry reading today. The My Life is Poetry workshop connects gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender seniors with autobiographical poetry writing as an outlet and form of expression. There are 22 readers here today, but this is only a small number of the seniors who've sat through the 20 classes sponsored by the Gay and Lesbian Center and the Los Angeles County Department of Cultural Affairs. Weekly, we had an exorbitantly large group for a writing workshop. This attests to the need for such artistic programming and how thirsty this population is to tell their stories. It also attests to my not being able to say no. I always lean towards inclusion, not exclusion, and as gay people, we're no strangers to isolation and exclusion, and I didn't want to recreate that in this class. With the seemingly unending reports of gay youth suicides, the media is finally highlighting the intense struggles of being queer in our culture. But struggling doesn't end at adolescence. And what about life after being a queer youth? I not only think that GLBT senior stories are important, I think they're some of the most important. GLBT elders of today have experienced life before the liberating Stonewall riots in 1969, seen the devastation of HIV in the 80s, witnessed the emergence of queer representation in the media and our shifting political landscape. These are things that were all written about during class, and today you'll hear poems that address those themes. And also, you'll hear poems about lovers with cancer, war, ice skating, fathers and mothers, apple pie, the sexy men in old athletic magazines, guilt, long-distance relationships, LA traffic, old cinema, and even a poem about jelly beans. We're a society built on storytelling, and using the poetic form to compress those stories into line breaks and stanzas is a rewarding challenge. For an inexperienced writer, tackling an autobiographical poem seems more manageable than trying to express oneself and their entire life story in a memoir. This workshop culminated in the students creating a small edition chapbook of their writings. The enduring nature of print gives the poet a sense of creating something eternal, but the wisdom and depth of their life will be left behind. These chapbooks and the poems you'll hear today share the vulnerability and bold stories of a specific community living through an interesting and challenging time, politically, culturally, and emotionally. Our culture doesn't encourage creativity, self-examination, or radical self-disclosure. Today, you're going to meet some fearless poets doing all of those things. It's my honor to introduce to you the poets of My Life is Poetry class of 2012, and our first reader today is Adam. Thank you.
My name is Adam Barron, and my life is poetry. A failed attempt at cross-dressing. I was desperate, a misfit in a strange world. I couldn't perform with a woman, and I couldn't get off with a man. Where was my place? I would try wearing drag, so I went off to Hollywood Boulevard to buy a wig. So many styles and colors, and this was just the start. The pantyhose are cheap. I'll start there. My friend Robert likes wearing them. I'll have him initiate me. He pulled his up. I pulled mine up. Then I said, now you try a diaper. So I tried his fantasy and he mine. The pantyhose were smooth but did not excite me, nor the diaper him. Another failed connection, but no worse for trying. We each had grown. Robert, I still like you as a friend. Your blonde hair, masculine manner, and sharp EMT uniform. The second poem is called Ross. Ross, you did a great deal for me. You indoctrinated me into the gay life. You gave me appreciation. You were my companion, and you provided much humor. Then you developed cancer, and all of these niceties were offset by the tragedy of it, and your resulting bitchiness, snapping loudly at me. Very understandable, still. So I was left with pain, disillusionment, and hurt feelings, remembering how our relationship ended, but not how it developed, and doubting your love. But then your insurance check came. I used it to pay off bills, but took it for granted. Now I realize what a gift it was, and how you helped me with it and saved my neck. You were pretty good after all, Ross. Thanks, Ross.
My name is Bob Dahlmeyer, and my life is poetry. I usually look into neighboring cars when I stop at intersections. Occasionally there's a star beside me, most recently Warren Beatty and Rob Reiner. Occasionally there's folks passing around a doobie, and once they offered it to me, and I took it. Occasionally folks are fighting. Nasty verbal insults flow into my window. One guy even threatened to kill his buddy, so I slowed when the light turned so I could write down his license number. But no murders were reported that night, so I threw away the number. Once, a nice gay guy driving a flower truck invited me to follow him into the park, and we made it among the floral arrangements. But more often than not, the folks next to me are looking into my window, just as bored as I am, waiting for the damned LA traffic to get moving. Now this is a little more serious. It's called Ode to My Tits. Growing up, they were just there. Nothing special or remarkable. In college, one got infected and it caused a lot of pain. When I was married, I was responsible for hers and not mine. Then men entered my life, and they played with them hard, and I played with theirs hard. Soon they began growing, sore at first, then hungry for the pain. Tits became a major turn-on. My dating scene ultimately led to a tit discussion, or better, a demonstration. Sadly, I rejected many great guys because they just didn't understand them. Today, tits are a major erogenous zone in my neighborhood. Thank you.